Hi, I'm the Movie Judge, and this review is about The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is the 2008 film, which basically brings Batman back into it again. After Batman Begins in 2005, which was just like a little bit more backstory, to be honest, which is fine if you'd never seen Batman before, but everyone had, and we saw it, and it kind of failed and stuff. But anyway, they did Batman Begins in 2005, yeah, he fell down the hole, the bats, etc., the mum, dad, yada yada, done. Great bit of Ra's al Ghul, Liam Neeson just being Liam Neeson, not particularly impressive. But anyway, significantly better than a Joel Schumacher film, which is not hard, nothing neon, nothing ridiculous, not messing about with stupid colours and Bane being just a little bit... and Poison Ivy just being ridiculous. Anyway, it wasn't that, we're over that. It's not that anymore. It's not even Batman Begins, because that's moved on. So now we've got a proper story. Yay, proper story! And the proper story is the Joker.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
So, at the end of Batman Begins, we see Batman holding a card, and Commissioner Gordon says something like, there's a new guy in town, and he holds a card with the Joker. Everyone gets excited and walks out of the cinema. 3 years later, you turn up and you kind of see this Joker story, except before that, The Dark Knight had an absolutely fantastic event build-up, something called viral marketing, which at the time wasn't really heard of. These days you kind of see it all over the place. But what The Dark Knight did, cleverer than any film I've ever heard of, was engage with the geek population significantly before the film even came out. So the fanboys are sitting there on the internet. Suddenly it's San Diego Comic Con. They get a call to action. It's cross the road and there's a guy giving out playing cards. On that playing card it says a map coordinate, be there at a certain time. When they're there at a certain time, they get a website address. They go to that website. They find a list of hotels. They then go to those hotels, and in those hotels, if you give a special keyword, you get a bowling ball bag with a bowling ball with the Joker's face in it, and a police evidence bag with a mobile phone. You pick that up, you dial a number that it's on there, there's a recorded voice of the Joker telling you to go to your next job. Literally layers upon layers upon layers. Not just in America, in London, in Brazil, in Mexico, in Scotland, all over the place. Eventually leading to the point where, after about 6 months of this, where you could literally pick up a phone, receive calls from Harvey Dent's campaign office. Hi, I'm Harvey Dent, vote for me, love you. Go on a website, log as being interested in the election. I believe in Harvey Dent, and I still do. But even after all that, what it led to was people getting an exclusive showing of the trailer and being so hyped up and pumped up for this film and so excited about it. And this was like 7-8 months before it even came out. And then Heath Ledger died. So the passing of Heath Ledger was pretty terrible. I mean, I myself had been producing Batman t-shirts before then, copyright, and selling them on eBay. So I'd seen his face imprinted on t-shirts, hundreds of t-shirts which I'd been making for months before. And then this film I was really excited about, one of the leads dies. The viral marketing was still going on. I mean, the website that was there suddenly had a little black bow in the corner. It was a terrible tragedy. This was 7 months before the film even came out. So after all this hype and anticipation, still no film, but there was this massive adventure of sadness and happiness, anticipation was all going on before the film even came out. So suddenly, to a lot of other people, it got a lot of, oh, we need to go and see it because Heath Ledger's in it. So suddenly the fan base extended, not just the geeks, not just the fans. Some macabre, but I think a lot of people go in there to show their respect, which is fine, as long as they shut the hell up and don't chew crunchy food. So eventually the film comes around. It's July or August of 2008, and it's there. The poster campaigns are there. They're wisely not putting Heath Ledger on there. It's just Christian Bale, otherwise known as Mum Beater, which was exceptional. The night before your big movie comes out, he goes to a hotel in London and beats up his mum and sister. Yay! He's a force fighting for good. Unless you're his mum, then he'll just crack you either way. But then he's Welsh, and I can't add that name. I'm just generalising, but I generally think there are more violent people. Yeah. So anyway, the film comes out and we let down? No. In all honesty, no. This film is exceptional. it instantly jumped into the top 5 of my top 5 films of all time. It's not just because it's a Batman movie. It's multi-layered. It's as good as something like The French Connection, the proper classic 70s heist movies. You don't know who to trust. You sit there and think, okay, Gordon's in charge of the police, that'll be fine. Can you trust the police? Well, no, you can't. Can you trust the bad guys? Well, probably some of them have a lot more about them than definitely than the police, etc. You can trust Alfred. I think you can trust Alfred. Can you trust Donnie Darko's sister? Yeah, I think you trust Donnie Darko's sister. Can you trust Aaron Eckhart? Yeah. And that's another thing as well, the Harvey Dent character. It's heartbreaking to see his rise, the hope that not only he has, but everybody has in his abilities. Bruce Wayne sitting there considering quitting, saying, I don't want to be Batman anymore. We need to basically fix the city. And the way to fix it is to get the politicians to do it. Now, in real life, we know that doesn't work because the politicians basically just bugger everything up anyway. And to be honest with you, it turns out that a mass vigilante is the only way to save things, albeit people dressed up as V for Vendetta and walking around London. Fine, it's making a point. Politicians can't sort things out, but in Gotham, politicians potentially can. So, this guy's walking around. He's the Great White Hope. He's the White Knight versus the Dark Knight, but they're both on each other's side. He takes the hit. He admits to being Batman purely for the sake of sitting there going, I was only trying to do my best, which leads to really bad consequences. And in case you didn't know, his name's Two-Face. And that's so cool because he burnt half his face with acid. Not just because he's a bit like talky behind your back or anything. And again, before that even happens, and it's like quite near the end of the movie, the transformation happens. You know it's going to happen, and it just eats you up inside. And that kind of level and that kind of tension for something that people just dismiss as a superhero movie, whatever. In your face, Green Lantern. So the Joker's this bad guy that's out there. He keeps kind of saying, I have no plan, I'm a madman, I'm kind of disorganized. Whereas when you look at that film, every single level of it is the most intricate plan ever. To the point where there's a guy with a mobile phone sewed in his pocket in the cell at the same time because of a heist that went on previously. If you literally look at the end of the film and unpick the whole lot, that people to be in the right place at the right time is so intricate, and it's fantastic, and that's what I love about it. The rewatch factor of this film is exceptional. It just works. It still builds up this ball of tension of you can't trust people. There's people stabbing each other in the back, and when you know who stabs each other in the back, when some of the police let you down, watching it again and seeing the looks on their faces, and you wonder why you never saw it in the first place, because people are kind of escorting people off to their death, and they know it, the other people don't. You don't know when you first see it. You watch it again, it's there, just like the nose on your face. Okay, just checking. It's Two-Face. It's great. I absolutely love this film. There's probably a couple of things I have issues with, and it's not just because I'm a super fan, but basically I didn't like Batman's voice. At the very beginning, there's loads of pretend Batman's fighting against the Scarecrow and stuff, and he comes out and says something like, and you're like, seriously, what? Because I know he's got to kind of disguise his voice, but you don't need to disguise it too bad. It's very simple to disguise your voice, okay? Hi, I'm Andy Grinnell. Hi, I'm Batman. That's it. Well, you don't need to say, and what we do get in the movie is scenes such as this. The famous hockey pad incident.
Don't let me find you out here again.
We're trying to help you.
I don't need help.
Not my diagnosis. What gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Now, if anyone sensible was being Batman, hi. What we would have done is if someone had said, what's the difference between you and us? I would have said,
I'm not wearing pads.
Another thing this film leaves you with is a distrust of authority. You're meant to be able to rely on the police, you're meant to be able to rely on the government, the people around you, your family, your friends, and all of that goes out the window, and it basically becomes one person fighting for themselves. And when you put all of your trust in a guy who's got parent issues, runs around dressed as a bat, and he's the most sane person there, it's a reflection of everything, and it really does kind of put you on edge. And I still feel, every time I watch this film, I feel on edge. I don't know what's going to happen. We obviously have, well, I know what's going to happen, I've seen it before, but you kind of know what I'm saying. You have the situation in the building where hostages are dressed as the bad guys, the police don't know, and only Batman knows, and he goes to save them. You have the situation with the police reporters being stolen. You have the videos the Joker's making sending to the news reports. You have the hospital blowing up. You have the guy who knows Batman's secret identity who has to get intercepted. There's probably one thing I didn't like, which was the boats at the end when everyone's sitting there going, you know, there's a prisoner boat and there's a good guy boat, and they've been given a detonator for their boat, they've been getting a detonator for their boat. And you kind of sit there and just think, oh, this is too much. I mean, leave it where it was. It was fine where it was too much tension. It seemed a bit tacked on. It seemed a bit Hollywood. And it's kind of, you know, when you see a film so many times, you can forgive a lot of it, but then one or two people stand out, probably just extras, and they hold the pose on him a bit too long, and suddenly you just hate that guy. You can't sit looking at him going, oh my God, it's that guy again. There's a bit at the end of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where there's a black guy standing in the crowd, and every time he stands up and cheers, he just cheers too much. That extra is earning too much money. There's another guy in this one with the boat. I don't know who he is. I just don't like him. He's acting. I'm acting here, everybody. I'm acting as a person. Just be yourself. Do your bloody acting without making it obvious, without being a diva. This guy does my nutting, and I think because of him in the boat, I could just cut out the whole boat scene. So I understand the artistic integrity and everything of it, but that one guy, just wipe out 20 minutes of movie. I'm happy with that, for the sake of never seeing his little piggy little face again. You want to see that guy? It's this guy.
We need to get...
No one wants to get their hands dirty. They made their choices. They chose to murder and steal. It doesn't make any sense for us to have to die too.
I hate that guy. But overall, the film is fantastic. As I said, it instantly jumped into my top 5, and just kind of shuffles about a bit depending on my mood. But it leaves you with so many questions. It's fantastic. Is Harvey Dent really gone, or is he coming back again? Is Batman really now the new bad guy? What will happen? Where will it go? Are they going to do the Dark Knight Returns? Are they going to do Hunt the Dark Knight? What are they going to do? Which baddies are they going to use? Are they going to use Scarecrow? Are they going to rehash the Riddler? But it delivers. There is a tense feeling. When you walk out, you feel satisfied. It's one of those films that ticks all boxes. It's absolutely fantastic. From the disappearing pencil trick of the Joker.
I'm going to make this pencil disappear. It's gone.
To standing there, just being a mad guy who just slaps a bit of paint on. No branded materials like Jack Nicholson. No bloody jackets with the Joker on the side of it and a big paint job on the side of a jalopy. Literally just a guy who slaps paint on his face and is an absolute nutcase. Just like Christopher Nolan did with a Scarecrow. These bad guys wouldn't be branded. They wouldn't have an internal marketing campaign. If they did, just find the people who printed the posters. They'll be able to tell you where they delivered them to. This is a psychopath. This is a nutjob. This is just a guy who is crazy. He's got knives in his pockets. He's got guns. He's got a load of nutcases following him. And what's scarier? Sitting there saying he doesn't have a plan, and he's just got these scars up his face. Not even coming up with consistent stories. This guy is a lunatic, an absolute lunatic. The kind of person you will meet on the street. You don't meet Jack Nicholson with his big, messy face and his "come on boys" Joker henchman. This is a genuine psychopath you could meet on the street, and that's the scariest thing about it. Like the Scarecrow pulling a sack on his head. Just a guy with a sack on his head. Scary as hell. And that's what put you on edge about the Joker. That's what put you on edge about Two-Face. Put them together in a film. And get gravelly-faced mum beater in there as well. You've got a cracking film, apart from the dick at the end of the boat. Alright. So overall, I give it a 5 out of 5. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's brilliant. The viral marketing thing was hooked. It was heartbreaking when Heath Ledger died. He was fantastic in the film. But it wasn't his last film. You already know this. It's the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. That's another story. But I thought it was a fantastic film. It still aches to hear the new music. Hans Zimmer's fantastic score. Love it, 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 love it. I'm the movie judge, and I love it. Thank you.
So you think Batman's made Gotham a better place? Can you look at me?
Look at me!
You see, this is how crazy Batman's made Gotham. You want order in Gotham. Batman must take off his mask and turn himself in. Oh, and every day he doesn't, people will die. Starting tonight. I'm a man of my word.